Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're reviewing a Jeep Wrangler that is basically a wannabe G-Wagon. You guys will understand with the review. Before we get into this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Dodge Ram Jeep Chrysler here in Sandy, Utah for giving me some time with this Wrangler. I'm going to include a link to their website in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Powering this is a hybrid 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. The MPGe rating with this system is 49. This can get 20 miles per gallon without any hybrid assist. It can go 22 miles on a charge, and then power outputs with this are 375 horsepower and then 470 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So first off, this is finished in Sarge Green, which is a very military-esque type color. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. But you guys can see that contrasts actually nicely to the blacked out grille, but then the blue tow hooks, they kind of, do some funny stuff. But you notice with this package, the entirety of the fender flare, including this lower portion right here, has been painted. And then look at the bumper. Everything's been painted. Inside here, it's gloss black. And so it has that paint match appearance that you just don't get with a regular Wrangler. I mean, look at that Rubicon, for example. You guys can see with the bumper being unpainted and then the little cap there at the end here on the fender flare is not painted. And so it does give this a unique look. And then another big part of this package is the tire and wheel setup, 275, 55, 20 in the front and over in the rear. And you guys can see with the wheels, they kind of have more of a luxury car appearance, but all-terrain tires. I will give Jeep that. But this shows you again with the fender flare how painted it is. And then yeah, the blue badges, they look a little bit dorky on this Sarge Green. But notice the mirror caps painted. Even yeah, with the hinges, everything all painted. And then you guys can see the door handles have been completely painted. Like everything is painted on this. And then we do have these side steps that actually those aren't painted, right? Anywho, here is the side view on this. So you can see it has kind of more of a luxury look from the side. And then I do have to show the rear bumper because again, it's painted. You can see the hinges, everything. Like it's just crazy how much paint was used with this package. Even this back handle here, they made sure that that was painted as well. Anyways, putting it all together, let me know your thoughts on the looks of this, but it definitely has a very G-Wagon-esque look with the bigger wheels and everything being painted on the outside. Now the next big part of this package is the interior. So we do have soft touch here at the top of the door panel, pretty normal with the load up Wrangler. The interesting part is the coloration here and the stitching with the trim inside, very unique. And that continues onto the seats as well. I mean, look at this coloration. It is very interesting in contrast to the green. Seats are also power adjustable, another luxury feature. And then being a 4xe, you guys can see the different modes here, the hybrid, the electric, the e-save mode. And then again with the kind of soft touch, that continues onto the dash with the stitching and all of that. Now I'm not going to go over every single feature inside because I've already reviewed a ton of 24 Wranglers, and so I'm sure you guys are tired of all that. But I do want to focus on some stuff. So adaptive cruise control, another kind of luxury feature. You can see the contrast of stitching with the steering wheel. And then again with the 4xe, you can see the hybrid stuff there with the gauges, which is pretty cool. And they got this new big infotainment system, right? Luxury cars are all about big screens nowadays. And then again with the trim on the dash that matches the door panel and the seat trim. And then even this has stitching on it down below. And then you got stuff like dual zone climate heated seats. That's just for your one pedal drive if you want to use that function. This actually still has a 2-speed transfer case in Jeep's advanced 4-wheel drive system, which is pretty cool. But yeah, just, you know, I mean, I know a lot of Wranglers have these nice touches, but just a little bit different with this. And then interestingly enough, this one actually has the one-touch skytop. And then here's the window sticker for this. You guys can see high altitude package 4xe, and pretty much everything's actually standard equipment. So the paint color, that's an option, and then the trailer tow package is an option, and then all-weather floor mats. But pretty much everything else is standard. Anyways, total MSRP $70,850. So sorry if you're drinking coffee and just spit it out a little bit, but anyways, let's see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's visibility over the hood. both the mirrors. Should do a blind spot monitoring throughout the rest of the rear. And yes, these seats are in fact green. I looked on the window sticker and it said green. It said black green interior color. So yeah, it's like a dark. I like this green. It's more of a kind of neutral type green because it's not so flashy and bright with the coloration. But regardless, let's set off and let's talk about whether or not this really is a, you know, half-priced G-Wagon, budget G-Wagon, right? Is this Jeep's G-Wagon? Some people just say that about the Wrangler in general. Some people say, no, the 392, that's the one. But here's my thing, is the G-Wagon, although it has a ton of off-road capability, ultimately is more about being kind of like a luxury car that feels like a tank nowadays. So they focus a lot on making that very insulated and luxurious. The Jeep doesn't do that. The Jeep focuses on off-road capability first, and then any sort of luxury stuff that's kind of secondary. So that's what you notice with this package. It still ultimately has the insulation of a Jeep. Now for 24, they did the antenna thing removal. They also kind of thickened some things here. More insulation overall to make it in a quieter interior. I can tell you that it does work. Like compared to my 22 Wrangler, this does feel a little bit more insulated, but it doesn't feel as insulated as most SUVs. Like you still get more road noise and wind noise than you get in most vehicles, including the G-Wagon. Even though that one is also a box, it's a well insulated box. It's a good way to put it. But aside from that, with this 4xe powertrain, it's got good power. I mean, it moves. I do like the one pedal drive. That's kind of fun. But yeah, obviously this is not, I mean, this is not like a G-Wagon type powertrain. It has like half the liters because the G-Wagon has a 4-liter V8 under the hood, twin turbo. So a little bit of a different powertrain. But I mean, this is still, and for half the price, it's strong. I mean, it's quick. It's decently quick. And it actually rides pretty well. Again, the new Wrangler, they kind of tried to make the suspension a little bit more comfortable, and I think it worked. Because it does pretty well going over bumps and everything. And so, all in all, I think Jeep did a good job with what they are given, but I still don't think that this makes sense for a Wrangler. I know, I'm sure someone's going to comment, I love this package, but in my mind, this just makes the Wrangler, like this package is just an expensive Wrangler, and it doesn't have the cool stuff that Wrangler people care about. Wrangler people care about off-road capability. Wrangler people care about having enough power to move all of the stuff that you might take off-road. That's why the you know, 392 has been so popular, because it has so much power. And this 4xe has good power, but it also is not like, it's a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder. It's not a sexy powertrain like the 6.4 Hemi. So yeah, you've got all that. But you know, the big thing again is just comes down to the insulation. I think if Jeep really wants to, you know, make a budget G-Wagon, which I think they've got more than enough room to do that, because okay, this is $70,000, which is expensive for a Wrangler. Well, yeah, it's just a lot of money. The Mercedes G-Wagon starts at $143,000. Base G-Wagon G550, no options. You add options, most G-Wagons at dealers are going to be $155,000 to $165,000 base, you know, G550. You go up to a G63, you're starting at over $170,000. Most you see at dealers are going to be $210,000 for the MSRP is what I most commonly see with those. Sometimes a little bit less, sometimes a little bit more. So hypothetically, if Jeep released a vehicle that was very similar to the G-Wagon and very similar to what we have here with the Wrangler, body on frame, they could stick with solid axles front and rear, but I would recommend switching to independent front suspension, because that's something that people have loved with the new G-Wagon. But regardless, body on frame, and just make it so it's a vehicle that you can't take half of it apart. I know that that's part of the Jeep thing. Keep the Wrangler. I'm not saying get rid of the Wrangler, but if they did that and then did the luxury, it'd make a lot more sense. Putting all these luxury touches in a vehicle that is as loud as this is in the interior and drives like a Wrangler, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, at least in my mind. So that's my thought. I think that Jeep should make like a completely, like, again, they same platform, similar setup, just independent front suspension instead of a solid rear axle, and then just a, you know, like real vehicle, like what they have with the Grand Cherokee, where you can't take the doors, the top off, all that kind of stuff. So just do that. I know that the Grand Cherokee is like, that's what the Grand Cherokee is supposed to be, but there's a lot of people nowadays that like me personally, me included, I like body on frame. I don't like unibody. I'm not a unibody person. So let me know your thoughts on this Wrangler package. Let me know your thoughts on my thoughts on Wrangler or Jeep building a quote-unquote budget G-Wagon. But I think that that's the way that they should go about it.